Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I'm at Apex 2025. I'm on the Co-Young booth, and I'm joined by Vivek from Indic. Vivek, pleasure to talk to you. There's just so much talk in the industry about India as a EMS destination now, and we've seen Apple move their business there. We're seeing more and more big OEMs move there, and we're seeing a real potential growth as people look for alternatives to China. They're excited about the potential for a consumer market in India as well. How does that all look from the inside out? How does it look to you guys? What does it mean to Indic?
If you ask me, the India story now on the manufacturing side is really getting very, very interesting. I'll just take you back onto I spent my first 2 decades of my almost 3.5 decade career on the software industry and the design, and that's the time like in mid 80s or early 90s, TI of the world and all those were coming up to a R&D section there. I was lucky to be a part of it. I was also done most of my work on the telecom side as an entrepreneur, sold some companies on the amount I can't disclose. But it was very, very interesting that the journey I did that almost about 2 decades. It's getting repeated in today on the manufacturing side, or I'll say. The reason for that is the same. India has very, very good talent pool when it comes to engineering. Geopolitically, it's on the very right map. And if you're talking about EMS industry per se, I mean, last 5 years, our the growth was, as per the industry standard, is about 41%. And I've been told that for next 5 years, from 2025 to 2030, it'll be somewhat near between 35 to 40%. So it'll be more like a China story, right? Something different from China, I'm not comparing it, it's the wrong thing to do that, but is that we are well known for our intellectual properties, having a very, very good footprints with the design software industry. If you talk about the top 500 Fortune companies, all the R&D centers, any of those 500 Fortune has to be in Bangalore or maybe in Hyderabad or one, but definitely in India. And I lucky been working there, I understood and anticipated that. So now it's getting more interesting because now the government has also put a lot of interest into that. So again, it started with, you mentioned about Apple, so Foxconn, Winstones of the world, they came out there, but that's for the big volume. But then we have a very interesting mid-section.
Mid-volumes.
Right, and where, so again, from a EMS perspective, it's another different thing is like when you compare it with say Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia. On the EMS side, on the outsourcing side, they are fully dependent on global market. But in India, you have the same advantage that you can really have a good global market, also the Indian market.
So a good domestic market too.
That's very interesting to supplement the market whenever you have a bad time.
I think it's really, what I find fascinating is one of the things you mentioned first and foremost is the amount of talent you have, the amount of graduate engineers coming out of university in India is in a class of its own. Talent is a big problem everywhere else in the world, so it really does set you apart. Your position is good, your geopolitical relationships are pretty strong wherever you look. We're in a bit of a geopolitical turmoil at the moment. Tariffs are being used as a negotiation tool quite often. Does that worry you, or are you just looking for some clarity and some vision to the future on how tariffs are going to look?
See, when we started our journey, as I said, 40, 50 years back, just after independence, India went more into the tariff challenges or the tariff game, and then they realized and they changed it a bit. So I think we are tuned to that. I'm taking you a bit different, like when the COVID happened, whole globe was worried about this 1.4 billion people in India. We are very, very congested area they live in, but we did exceptionally well. So we enjoyed these challenges, the tariff challenge. About 3 or 4 weeks back itself, our Prime Minister was with your president, the American president,
Trump,
and the negotiations were very smooth. So I think
both people that want to do business.
That's
want
true.
To negotiate.
That's true, and we being a geopolitically neutral is really helping us a lot. And the shift is good too. from, early 70s or 60s, we are pro-Russian, and now we have done a very balancing act.
Yeah.
So I don't see a challenge out there. Plus, our the government incentives about, now, whether it comes to semiconductor or it comes to EMS or other things, they are willing to put 25% when you put the remaining 75%.
Okay.
So they are going extra steps, but they are not doing exactly the way that China did, because China gives you a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, China's been like a policy. It doesn't have to worry about elections. It's a very different beast, isn't it?
But they do a lot of cosmetic help to you. But here, I think Indian system is more like an American system, where you have to slog, work hard. And when it comes to people, as you said, the biggest advantage India has, I always say it is, over more than 60-65% population is in the age group of 25 to 45.
Yeah.
It's totally different, not
So
from America,
talent,
but from
but
Japan.
You have young talent.
It's a very, very young and very skillful people.
Yeah.
Even other than that, the skilled people own not the very high degree people. The middle one is and they have a lot of fire in the belly.
Yeah, absolutely. And those people are not just the talent you need, but they're the consumers of the future. I wanted to talk a bit about the market there, because there are still a lot of people in poverty in India. One of the things that, if you look at the last, 3 or 4 decades of China and its progress in manufacturing, they've brought a lot of people out of poverty. That's the success story behind everything else. Do you see manufacturing as a good way to increase the average income, the GDP per capita, and actually bring more people into a middle class that does buy those consumer products?
I strongly believe into that, but my belief or your belief is not important. The belief of the government is important, because they are the one with such a big global way, and they are really doing it.
Yeah.
They understood the software industry has gone good way, and it's a very different life for all the IT people, but they say they need to replicate, and if they do that in manufacturing, the rewards will be 10 times, because the amount of number of people you can employ in the manufacturing. And on top of that, we also realized one of the key part is that the wages side, we are right now below one third of the China wages. We are below Vietnam, Malaysia, even Thailand is about 2.1 times. The nearest is Vietnam, which is about 1.5 times. We are taking care of the wages, the lowest wages perspective you compare, but the skill level is very much available.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the talent coming out of universities, out of the academic institutions in India is phenomenal. You have a really good system of education that's bringing the people that the industry needs.
That's the most beautiful thing India did right after independence. I'm taking you back in late 40s. The first thing they did was put a very strong institutional system. Which has helped. Again, I'm sitting here right now in US, in the California. You go to the Bay Area. It's all that education which is helping. The top 5 IT companies are mostly managed by the Indian CEO. So people have realized that, and it's not us. I'll tell you, I came from a background where 7 of my family were staying in less than 2-bedroom house, not a 2-room house. There was no bedroom. And today it's very, very different. So my help, in my scenario, there are people who I sometimes take help of a driver or the maid. Their basic focus is to educate their children. That's the way to not only go out of poverty, go into the next level of
and absolutely, and to be part of that middle class that is growing and booming, and that's really what is valuable out of the industrialization and the manufacturing industry as it develops in India.
And in particular in the manufacturing, though, when I was in the IT industry, the 2 decades, it was more like you can only employ the people who are engineers, who are good educated. But here, when I came back, there's no operators. And the only reason I was thinking about taking a retirement and play my golf, but I said it will be too boring only playing golf. And because I told you, I did some 2-3 entrepreneurial things, and I was too lucky to make a lot of money. And it's not the only one. There are many like me doing there, particularly in the IT hub of Bangalore. So what I did was I got associated with this Indic as a manufacturing hub, and Now, in my company, 80% is always a woman.
Yeah.
We crossed more than 80%. We work on the single shift, and we have a huge daycare. So for me, more important is not just to uplift the educated people, uplift the semi-skilled people.
Yeah.
So I'm on the rural side of Bangalore,
Yeah.
but upliftment of that is so interesting. And a lot of my Dutch customers, in case you visit us, and I'm very sure you'll ask the same question, is that how come there are so many women in hundreds and thousands, and how they are happy? So I use the word they're not happy, but they are contented.
Yeah.
You know, the upliftment of not just the poverty, the status of a woman is my call.
Yeah.
The woman who works, for them it's not just an 8 hour of works in India. Actually, when they come before the morning, they work 4 hours at home.
Yeah.
Because you know the disparity between men and women. And when they go back, again 4 hours of that.
Yeah.
So the respect they get, more than the money or the poverty, the respect they get is enormous, and you get such a good blessing out of it.
Well, and Vivek, that's exactly the point, because you've made your money. A little bit more money isn't going to change your life, but if you can improve other people's lives, that's what will make you sleep better, and that's what will make you enjoy your retirement when you get there.
You ask me, like my 10 years in that or 12 years in that, I did something on an organic growth, but now I'm investing straight 30 million on a state-of-art plant next to my visit. And it's all because of the blessing of those women.
Yeah,
I'm able to have been, Indic has a very success story, like my earlier software industry story. And but it's all because of the blessings of women and their children.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, it's a very different blessing. And it's not, whenever somebody visits me, any of my customers, the first thing I tell them is, meet these people. And if they bless you, you talk to them, and if they bless you, you're done. And
you're happy.
it's not, you're not giving job to me. Anytime you come, you're giving job to about 200 women here. So that's the way I look at it, and they really and we all appreciate every customer of mine from Europe or US.
I love your approach. I love your insight. Thanks so much for spending time with me today.
Same out here.
We'll talk again soon.
Really, meeting you and talking to you. Thank you very much.